In today's fast-paced world, it's crucial that we address the often overlooked issue of mental health. The stigma surrounding mental health struggles has persisted for too long, hindering individuals from seeking help and receiving the support they need. One key argument for promoting mental health awareness is that it affects us all. Regardless of age, gender, or background, anyone can face mental health challenges. Normalizing discussions about mental health fosters empathy and understanding, making it easier for people to reach out and seek assistance. Another compelling reason to prioritize mental health is its impact on overall well-being. When we neglect our mental health, it can lead to physical health problems, strained relationships, and decreased productivity. By addressing mental health proactively, we improve our overall quality of life. It's high time we break the silence and destigmatize mental health. By openly discussing these issues, offering support, and seeking professional help when needed, we can create a society where mental health is prioritized and everyone has the opportunity to thrive. In today's rapidly evolving world, the rise of artificial intelligence, AI, is reshaping our lives in profound ways. This technological advancement offers unprecedented opportunities but also raises significant ethical and societal concerns. One crucial aspect to consider is the potential for job displacement. As AI systems become more sophisticated, certain tasks that were once performed by humans are now automated. While this can boost productivity, it also threatens job security for many individuals. Another critical concern is privacy. AI systems have the capacity to analyze vast amounts of data, raising questions about the security and misuse of personal information. Striking the right balance between innovation and protecting our privacy rights is a complex challenge. Moreover, AI bias is a growing concern. These systems often learn from historical data, which can perpetuate biases present in that data. Addressing bias in AI algorithms is essential to ensure fairness and equity in their applications.
There are two main reasons why parents decide to educate their children at home. Either they dislike schools on principle, however odd those principles might be, or they don't believe their local schools provide an adequate education or the right sort of education for their children. If someone decides to teach their child at home, either by themselves or by employing a teacher, they have to convince their local education authority, LEA, that the teaching provided is satisfactory. Schedules, lesson plans, and book lists must be shown, and it must also be demonstrated that the child is in fact learning, and that they have adequate opportunities for physical education and meeting other children. Furthermore, while there is no formal assessment, officers from the LEA will come and inspect what is being done and look at the child's exercise books. If they are not satisfied, they make out a school attendance order.
Last week, we looked at urban regeneration and some of the consequences of this, one of which was the relocation of people from urban to suburban areas to largely allow them a better standard of living, because housing is cheaper in the suburbs, so they have more disposable income. But they have to commute, and commuters need rapid transport to get them from A to B. So subway construction is, well, it's booming in some parts of the world. It's clearly being seen as the answer to the type of migration that I've just mentioned. It often gets huge public support because, well, if a subway is going to help you have a better lifestyle, then what's there to argue about? Well, quite a lot, actually. For a start, in order to go ahead with a major project of this kind, you need to be absolutely sure that the ground, and more to the point, what lies beneath the ground, can support underground transport. And to address questions like that, engineers have to be really experienced, really knowledgeable about the local area, water levels, land formation, and so on. And those key issues are what I want to focus on today. Passengers don't think about construction. They trust other, better qualified people to do it for them. And governments have to choose these people very carefully.
Ties waited Monday for the results of an election called a return to democratic rule, but which has been widely criticized as an exercise designed by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha to entrench his military stranglehold on power. Preliminary official results released late Sunday showed that with 93% of the ballots counted, the military-backed Phalang Parachut Party was in the lead with about 7.6 million votes. That's short of what would be needed for a majority in parliament. In second place was the Pheu Thai Party of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra with 7.1 million votes. The campaign was marred by allegations of vote buying. However, complaints were few on polling day, with election observers from Australia, Canada, the United States, and the 10 members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations on hand. A waterproof drone is being used by Australian scientists to collect the highly treasured nasal mucus of migrating whales. The snot is rich with fresh DNA, viruses, and bacteria, and it's collected by a drone that hovers over the blow whales of humpback whales as they embark on their epic annual journey along the Australian east coast. From Sydney, Phil Mercer reports.
Whales, like all mammals, need air and come to the surface to breathe through a blowhole. Vanessa Perotta, a marine biologist at Macquarie University, says that nasal mucus indicates the health of the whale.
Did any of you notice those strange greenish-colored lights in the sky last night? Anybody? Mark?
I did, sir. They were beautiful. But, what were they?
We call them the northern lights, but they're also called auroras. There are two types of auroras, those in the northern hemisphere and those in the southern hemisphere. In the north, we call them the aurora borealis. In the south, they're the aurora australis. Auroras appear as colorful streams of light in the sky in high northern and southern latitudes. They frequently occur during the months before or after the equinox. The equinox happens in March and September. That's when the planet is tilted so that it's neither pointed away from nor toward the sun. So, why do auroras occur? They're the result of a reaction in the upper atmosphere. Solar winds hit the Earth's magnetic field. This may excite the oxygen and nitrogen atoms in the atmosphere. After some time, the atoms become relaxed. As they relax, the electrons in these atoms give off energy. This energy appears in the form of light. The color of the light depends on whether it comes from oxygen or nitrogen. In addition, the height in the atmosphere helps determine the colors that the light forms. Also, just so you know, oxygen usually emits a green or brownish-red light. Nitrogen typically gives off a red or blue light. Most auroras are green in color. Did any of you notice those strange greenish-colored lights in the sky last night? Anybody? Mark?
I did, sir. They were beautiful. But, what were they?
We call them the northern lights, but they're also called auroras. There are two types of auroras, those in the northern hemisphere and those in the southern hemisphere. In the north, we call them the aurora borealis. In the south, they're the aurora australis. Auroras appear as colorful streams of light in the sky in high northern and southern latitudes. They frequently occur during the months before or after the equinox. The equinox happens in March and September. That's when the planet is tilted so that it's neither pointed away from nor toward the sun. So, why do auroras occur? They're the result of a reaction in the upper atmosphere. Solar winds hit the Earth's magnetic field. This may excite the oxygen and nitrogen atoms in the atmosphere. After some time, the atoms become relaxed. As they relax, the electrons in these atoms give off energy. This energy appears in the form of light. The color of the light depends on whether it comes from oxygen or nitrogen. In addition, the height in the atmosphere helps determine the colors that the light forms. Also, just so you know, oxygen usually emits a green or brownish-red light. Nitrogen typically gives off a red or blue light. Most auroras are green in color.
Through 2. Listen to part of a talk in a science class.
As you recall from our previous discussion, the chemistry of life is organized into metabolic pathways. Next year in your organic chemistry lab, you'll go into metabolism, in more depth. Since this is an intro course, you need only a general understanding of the process for now. There's a wonderful videotape I'd like you to know about that will help you review for the test next week. It's part of the Transformations series that was on television about a year ago. The episode you should watch is called The Industry of a Cell. I strongly urge you to see it. I believe our library has more than one copy. It shows lots of examples, the many ways that cells use energy for metabolism. For example, it shows how bacteria in the headlight of a certain fish, how these bacteria take the energy stored in food and convert it into light in a process called bioluminescence. You should all try to see this program before next week. I highly recommend it. In fact, you can expect to see examples from it on the test.
I can't believe how much my books cost this semester. I just spent over $100 in the university bookstore for only 4 books, and I still need the book for chemistry. That one costs $55. It's a little more than my budget can handle at the moment.
Science books are always out of sight. But did you know there's another bookstore in the Pioneer District? They carry used copies of most of the textbooks for the university.
I wonder if they'd have my chemistry book. I need the 3rd edition.
I found all of my books there. You can sell any kind of book too, not just textbooks.
That's not a bad idea. Where did you say that was again?
Number
Cells cannot remain alive outside certain limits of temperature, and much narrow limits mark the boundaries of effective functioning. Enzyme systems of mammals and birds are most efficient only within a narrow range around 37 degrees centigrade. A departure of a few degrees from this value seriously impairs their functioning. Even though cells can survive wider fluctuations, the integrated actions of bodily systems are impaired. Other animals have a wider tolerance for changes of bodily
University is one of the happiest times of our life. If you go to university, that is. I totally loved my university days. I also loved my university. I had 3 great years of being a student. It was the first time I lived alone, without my parents. I had to cook, wash, and clean for myself. I loved it. I had complete freedom. I also loved the studying. It was much more interesting than studying at school. It was nice to just wander along to a lecture, do the reading, and then do the assignments. I really felt like I was learning something. I also loved the social life at university. It's almost 24/7. There are always parties and things to do. You have to get the right balance between
For those interested in preserving the environment, this week brings sobering news about ethanol. This fuel, distilled from plants like corn and switchgrass, has been widely touted as an eco-friendly, clean-burning alternative to gasoline. But a study published this week in the journal Environmental Science and Technology suggests that replacing our current gas guzzlers with vehicles that burn ethanol would actually increase pollution and damage human health. Stanford scientist Mark Jacobson used a computer model to predict air quality in the year 2020, when ethanol-powered cars were expected to be widely available in the U.S. His simulation showed, among other things, that cars that burn a blend of 85% ethanol will significantly increase ozone, a prime ingredient in smog. So in a world where the cars run on switchgrass juice, more people will get asthma, more people will be hospitalized with respiratory distress, and more people will die from breathing in ozone than if we kept on driving our gas-powered clunkers, at least according to Jacobson. So if you want to celebrate Earth Day this weekend, raise a glass of bubbly to our beautiful planet. Just don't share any with your gas. If you woke up this morning and the newspaper headline screamed, "Meteor headed for Earth," you'd think, that's not good. And you'd probably be right. But sometimes a little cosmic bombardment can be just what the doctor ordered. In a study published online in the journal Nature Geoscience, researchers in Sweden say that 470 million years ago, meteor showers might have boosted our biodiversity. The scientists were studying rocks from China and Scandinavia, and they were looking for two things. First, they were counting the number of different clam-like species they could find. Second, they were searching for chemicals that were carried here by meteorites, extraterrestrial chromite, stuff like that. They found that a huge burst of diversification coincides exactly with the time when meteors a mile wide were raining down on the planet. But wait, didn't an asteroid wipe out the dinosaurs? Well, yes, but without all those earlier impacts promoting diversity, maybe there wouldn't have been any dinosaurs in the first place. And if a meteor hadn't then slammed the dinos, mammals like us might never have made the scene. So when it comes to space rocks, one man's ceiling is another man's flora and fauna.
Student union members can significantly influence university policy changes. The seminar offers opportunities to exchange and discuss ideas with peers.